Hello, and welcome to the Steam Next Fest Awards ceremony, our second annual ceremony for handing out awards to demos that I feel perf- did a remarkable job in this, I don't even know what to call it, this Steam festival. I believe it ended a half hour ago. I played 30 demos. They were all They were demos, but what I like to do after all the Steam festivals is I like to put together a ceremony. Our first one we did in February, late February of this year. It was very short, it was very last moment, and this time I decided I wanted to go all out. I wanted a real award ceremony, I wanted different categories. So I believe we have 13 categories to go through. I went through, I chose the categories, I chose what games I thought would be the best nominees for those categories, and I tried to be as unbiased as possible when I decided who the winners were. Now, though I did go through 30 demos, that does not mean that all of them even made it as a nominee to these awards. I did my best. There are a lot I enjoyed. There were some I didn't enjoy. But overall, I tried to be very thoughtful in all of my decision making. All I have planned for today is this ceremony. I do not know how long it is going to last. But after the ceremony, I'm going to think on everything that's happened today. I kind of left off in a rush on Sunday. I did not realize that Father's Day dinner was going to be as early as it was, but that's okay. Overall, I feel like I did not rush the demos. Most of them I gave a pretty good chance. Some of them I kind of cut short because either I got the gist and I wanted to move on to get all the demos played, or I didn't enjoy them and I felt like there was no point in going on. There was nothing stopping me and going, wow, this is interesting. And that's never to say the demo is bad. I think all demos are good in their own way, but I just can't appreciate every single piece of media that's out there. That's insane. So, with that, let's welcome to the ceremony. This is where we will be awarding all of the prizes. Try to get it set up all looking nice. So while we are here, let's take a quick look, just a quick glance at all of the demos I played. We played Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Though I did not appreciate... I thought it was a fine game. I could see how people would have enjoyed it. It was not a game for me. But I thought it was very cute, and I thought it was very colorful. I could not get past one hit, and I was dead. Blueberry, I kind of rushed in. It was the last demo I played, but I enjoyed it. I thought it got real emotional at some parts. I'm very excited to see what comes next. Chasing Static, I believe it was the first demo I played. It was very good. It had a very PlayStation 1 feel to it. Sound effects were good. The characters were... and it got me very excited and looking forward to when it does come out. Frank and Drake, I didn't give it a lot of time. Wanted to enjoy it. It went too slow. It was getting very heavy-handed, and it was hard to read a lot of the notes that were left for you to build on the character. But I think it is an interesting concept, bringing a modern approach to Frankenstein and Dracula. I'm still not sure if Frank is supposed to be Dr. Frankenstein himself or Frankenstein's monster. I'm gonna assume Frankenstein himself, but I don't know. I didn't play long enough to see. Frontier Hunter, I believe from a Chinese dev, I believe. I was worried at first it did not come in English, but with the little play, it did. kind of rough, to be honest. The text just went immediately, but I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed the small amount of time I had with it, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. Glimmer in Mirror. Another one I was worried about not being in English specifically because of the box art, but it was in English. Translation was a little rough, but besides that, very enjoyable in a lot of ways. Nice to look at, good to play, all of that. I very much look forward to how it does when it comes out. Glitched in RPG. Almost didn't download it. I did anyway. I gave it a chance. Didn't even get through the whole demo. Played it for a long time. Decided it was time to move on. Good soundtrack, good art. There's a lot to it. It exceeded my expectations, to be honest, because I'm never sure with RPGs. Very, very enjoyable. Grime, I played it for a bit. It was considered Souls-like, which I was explained was more because, you know, when you save, enemies come back. Played it for a bit. I wasn't 100% sold on it, but at the same time, I didn't dislike it. I'm not sure if I'll get it. I do plan on keeping an eye on it. I thought the controls were smooth. I thought the art style was, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I thought the art style was a bit grotesque. But for what it is, it actually worked out very well, and I'm looking forward to seeing where Grime goes in the future. Heaven Dust 2, very reminiscent of Resident Evil. There's zombies. You wake up cold and alone. I played it for a bit. There are a couple things that were not so obvious, but the art style I thought was very cutesy, which in my opinion was, for the type of game it was, I thought it was an interesting choice, and I liked the art style. I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. Did not play the whole demo, but I might look at it when it comes out. In Sound Mind, a horror game that I decided to grab. Scared me. I jumped, had to quit. Too scared. But it had a good atmosphere, good music, very interesting. It seemed like it had a lot to it. It seemed very meaty just from the demo. And this soundtrack is by The Living Tombstone. So I look forward to seeing where it goes. Let's move on. Interference was an interesting little demo. I believe you played as a guard for some project in Manhattan. I feel like I didn't get a chance to do a lot. I thought the music was interesting. You're timed. And even though I didn't feel stressed to finish, because I honestly did not realize that I was timed, I thought it was a pretty good demo. So I really enjoyed it. I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm not 100% sold on it, but only time will tell. Misk, A Tiny Tale. It's another one that I didn't rush it, but I did have to go. I believe I played it for 15 to 20 minutes, and it was a joy to play. It was very cute. The controls were pretty tight. You know, it didn't feel loose. It felt good to play. It was considered a collectathon, but to be fair, even though I didn't play all of it, it felt nice to look around, look at the scenery. I'm excited for where it goes. It reminds me a lot of a game that came out a few years ago called Scrap Garden, but, you know, more modern. So I cannot wait for when that comes out. Hello, Epic. Welcome to the ceremony. How are you doing today? Missing the complete saga. Was interesting. The demo was very rough. I don't know how close they are to completion. It just seemed like there was one area and everything else was empty. But you know what? The little bit of time I spent playing it, I wasn't upset, but it was a very rough demo. So I hope the devs can pull off what they hope to do, because it's apparently a whole life game. You play as Devi, you decide what she does on a day-by-day basis. Her home life is not that great, so it's up to you to make it better or not, but it was very broken. But that's gonna happen. I think that there were some redeeming qualities, and I hope that the developers are able to do what they set out to do. Mondili Day 1. I enjoyed it. There were parts of it that were charming. Translation was very, very rough. It's one guy from Russia, and I enjoyed the art style. I thought in some ways it was funny. I thought the way they were telling the tale was interesting. Overall, I'm gonna keep an eye on it because I did do a little delving, which I will get into later. And I'm not sure how I feel about supporting the dev. But as I said, I will get into it later. Good demo though. I don't regret playing it. I think it has some good things going for it, but I think there are some things holding it back that I hope the developer gets to looking at. Hello, Marcus. Welcome to the ceremony. How are you doing? I hope you brought your best. I hope you brought snacks because this... Thank you. I spent a lot of time on it. My one regret... I was talking about this last night. And my one regret... Thank you. My one regret for this is that it happened to begin ending or starting to come to an end on a weekend where A, I was streaming, but B, I had like a lot going on. So I got some things out of the way, you know, during the week, but a lot of it I felt like I couldn't complete until I actually finished all the demos. So I spent honestly my whole day on it. I'm happy with how it came out. I'm glad you guys enjoy it as well. I don't know how long I'm here. Like, I'm here for the whole ceremony, but I'm going to just wrap up whenever that is. Because, and I wasn't going to say this, but everyone is here now. Moose is a tired host. But back to the demos that I played yesterday. My time at Sandrock. You expected a tier list? Oh no, the tier for this? No way. No way. No, I had a plan because last time there was an award ceremony, but it was just for like my top 3 game picks. And as fun as that was, I wanted to like, thank you! Thank you! You guys are so sweet. Yeah, I enjoyed it last time, but I was like, I have to do more. I honestly love doing production stuff. So here we are, big productions. I had to buy a podium. Can you guys believe it? I had to buy a podium. I had to get a big flat screen to show everything. I had to make sure it hooked up to the computer so that, you know, I could use Photoshop to show everything off. It was very expensive. I had to buy all the rights to the music. Except for the music. We have 2 different kinds of music. We have this music. you can become... No, PowerPoint? Not PowerPoint. Better than PowerPoint. But My Time at Sandrock, I don't know if it's a prequel or a sequel, or if it takes time. Oh my god, Pepe. Or I guess it's not Pepe, it's like a dog, but either way. My Time at Sandrock, we'll say it's a sequel because it came out after My Time at Portia. I think there are parts where it's... Also, hello, Lana, I'm sorry. I was just looking at your Pepe. And I was like, I'm doing well. How are you doing? Welcome to the ceremony. I'm like, I was very tired when I woke up, and now I'm kind of full of energy, and I'm like, I'm being a good host. But My Time at Portia, or we're ending the ceremony now. My Time at Sandrock. I knew this was gonna happen. I got everything set, but I didn't get a speech ready. So here we are, we're doing it live. It is what it is. So My Time at Sandrock, I think there are some parts that they've streamlined to make it more enjoyable. I played about an hour. I had to make something so I can be like, hey, I'm the official builder. In a bit, I'll do a speech. In a bit. We're going through all the games I played. All the demos I played. So there's a bit that seems streamlined, not as obnoxious. I will say it was not well optimized. Looking at the game, it doesn't seem like something that should, like, be too much of an issue for my computer or my graphics card or anything. I think it was poorly optimized. Some of the characters, they didn't look great, and I don't think it's what was intended, but it's what happened. But overall, I actually think I will look forward to playing My Time at Sandrock. I think I spent about 70 hours in My Time at Portia and could just say it was okay. But My Time at Sandrock, we'll see as time goes on. But overall enjoyable demo. No longer home. Yeah, because I feel like, as I said, so I have all these awards, but not every single game made it to the nominations. Made it, so I need to give them all the respect they deserve, talk a bit about every single demo before we can even get to the awards. Because I don't even myself remember what I put on there, even though I have it all written down on index cards. I played about 30 demos, but I feel like this time, a lot of the demos were very long. There were some I cut short because I wanted to get through them all with the amount of time I had, considering that the festival closed nearly an hour ago. So I went through about 30. Yeah, I think. Let me double check. Hold on. Because we have someone in the audience asking 30 demos. So, No Longer Home. I didn't play it for that long. I would be real. I started it. The art style was very reminiscent to me of Kentucky Route Zero, but I was like, that's fine. I kind of enjoyed Kentucky Route Zero for like the first half. But as time went on, two strangers started talking. They got very deep out of nowhere, and it felt like it was going to start becoming very heavy-handed. And I didn't mind the subject matter. They're talking about how people expect you to just know what you're going to do when you're in college. And I don't disagree, but it got very deep very quickly, so I felt like it was just gonna be another Kentucky Route Zero, where it started a thing and then it moved on. I have no problem with deepness. I actually really enjoy a deep, metaphoric game, but it has to make its way there. If you start getting too deep, too heavy-handed, too quickly, and it's not done, Well, I don't think it was done badly, but they were two strangers, and strangers, in my opinion, are not going to just go on about their fears and their insecurities right off the bat. I didn't play it for long, but you know, I'm just not the type of person for that game. You know, I know there are going to be people who enjoy it because I felt like there were a lot of people that enjoyed Kentucky Route Zero. The little I did play, I do feel that they were getting to where they wanted to be. My biggest complaint is that they have a long section at the beginning to tell you the subject matters they're going to dive into. And it's maybe 4 or 5 screens because they have a lot to say. But they don't give you enough time to finish reading what they're telling you. They don't let you choose to continue reading. They give you maybe 15 to 20 seconds for something that takes at least 45 seconds. I'm a fast reader. And outside of my opinion on the game, that would be my only complaint, is that they didn't let you read for too long. Nummels, fun fact, the developer is actually streaming right now the game. Look at me flex. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot to do something. Well, I'm gonna say this now, if anyone redeems channel points, I should probably just turn them all off. I meant to, and then I didn't. Hold on, I'm sorry. This is very bad. Okay. I only say that not because I'm like, ugh, but if it's books, I read slower because, you know, there's a whole plot you gotta remember. But you can reach 10K. I just disabled all of the awards, but I still want you guys to be able to earn. I meant to turn it off. I should have done it last night before I stopped for the night. I had a lot to do, and I thought I was gonna pass out. But Nummels, the developer, I think he's streaming actually on Steam right now. He's talking about how he's fixed the game. He's using some, no, I'm sorry, Marcus. But not to, now this is a brag. This is me flexing. He DM'd me. He said, hey, can I use some of the footage from your stream because I want to stream it? And I was like, yes. So I'm broadcasting elsewhere, not live because it's past stuff, but the dev, lovely, nice. He's been lovely, nice guy. He's been in the chat, our very own Platinator. He created Nummels, very Lemmings-like. I'm not sure if you guys have played Lemmings. There's another game he mentioned, but I don't remember, but it reminded me of Lemmings. I don't think he's streaming on, he might be. I know he talked about streaming on Steam to talk about what he's fixed since then, because he's been able to watch people play it and get an idea of what makes sense and what works for the player or not. I'm not sure if he's streaming on Twitch, though. I couldn't see anything about it. He did link the Steam page, so I believe it should be on there. But it was a very Lemmings-like game. You gotta save these stupid idiots. I have to say, it was actually pretty fun to play, and I think he gets stuff done really well. You know, at the end, it tells you how many of these little idiots you've killed. Any ones that didn't explode, you see under the... It was very colorful. It was very fun. It was like a little frustrating, but relaxing at the same time. And the only frustration is when you want to save all your kids, and the idiots decide to drown themselves. So Nummels, I look forward to the future. I might be biased because I know the dev and he's very nice every single time. And I liked Lemmings. I was bad at Lemmings. It was a, maybe early to mid 90s game. I played it on the Super Nintendo. Even though I was horrible at it, I played a lot of it. And that's... Darwinism at its finest. So, Nummels, pretty great. I look forward to its future as a game. Psych. I'm gonna be real. I almost forgot about Psych. The only reason I didn't is because I grabbed all of the game art because we have an award ceremony. Psych was about a young man. I believe the story is he got in a car crash. He got PTSD and he was sent to a mental asylum. And he gets out. He's supposed to meet his sister in a park. She gets kidnapped. I'm gonna be real. It was a very quiet game. It wasn't that atmospheric. It was very dark. The park seemed very big. You get a little hint as to where you go, but there was no real urgency. There's nothing that made me want to continue. Your sister's kidnapped, and the kidnapper was like, meet me here. And there was supposed to be voice acting, but it was so quiet. So, like, imagine I'm talking right now, right? And all of a sudden, they're like, hey, Moose, become our voice actress. And I'm like, got you. I think I come here, can only go out of it. It was very quiet. There were birds here and there, but there honestly wasn't anything that made me want to keep playing, which is a shame because, like, a park I think could be a good setting. I might check up on them from time to time because I thought the telling of the story of how you got in the situation was nicely done. And that's it. It didn't interest me, and I really thought it would. Risu. Shorter demo. Really enjoyed it. You played as a high school girl. It started in the middle, I believe, of where the game's supposed to be. I thought the sound effects were good. It was, like, top-down almost. Sometimes it was not quite, like, over the shoulder, but it would go from, like, looking this way to being top-down. And the way they moved the camera was very nice, so it never seemed disorienting. In Resident Evil, I felt that sometimes they would just move maybe Onimusha. I should say Onimusha. You switch screens and the camera just changes all of a sudden. I thought Risu did a very good job in deciding how they were going to move the camera with you. Overall, I can't say quite knew what was happening, but I wanted to know what was happening. It had good atmosphere as well. I always thought something was gonna come after me, and nothing ever did. But I look forward to its development. I look forward to when it comes out. I thought Risu was pretty good. Self-loss. It was kind of a sad game. I got stuck because I kept getting hit by wind, and I felt like I knew how to get past it, and I just couldn't. Not to spoil things, I got really sad because there was a dead baby owl. Now, it's not, like, realistic, as you can tell. It's, like, very stylized. So it's not like you see a real dead baby owl, but I liked where I was going. You're supposed to help the spirits move on. You're supposed to help the others move on, deal with their grief. You play as an old man, which I think is interesting because I don't think there are enough games where you play as, like, an old man or an old woman. It's always a kid or a robot or some cool young adult, but you play as an old man helping people and animals deal with the grief of losing their loved ones. It was very good. I thought it was lovely. The soundtrack was very good. And I look forward to seeing how it progresses as a game. Spirit of the Island. It was very cute. I wasn't feeling it. You would think it was a game for mouse and keyboard, or not mouse and keyboard. You had to use mouse and keyboard for a controller, but it wasn't, and that's okay. But it felt very loose to play. I felt like he always walked more than I wanted him to. I felt it was very... I didn't read the signs, but it was very big, which isn't a bad thing, but I had just started and I already felt a little overwhelmed. And you gotta help some bridge builder. He asks you for 5 things, but doesn't help give you an idea of where to find those things. I think when you are starting a game that's bigger, it does help to like just give a small area so the player can get accustomed to it and build from there. So Spirit of the Island, I got it because I thought maybe it would be like Stardew Valley a bit. It was not. I did enjoy it. It wasn't bad. I don't think I will get it at the end of the day. But you know what? It's very cute. It seems to do what it's doing well. It wants you to make relationships with people. It wants you to have a farm. It wants you to have chickens. I hope that the developers succeed in their plans. The Darkest Tales had the worst sidekick. I'm gonna say that right now. Of the 30 demos, I don't think there were many with sidekicks, but the Darkest Tales had the worst sidekick, who poked fun of the main character, laughed at him all the time, and had a really fucking annoying voice. But it was an enjoyable platformer. Here and there, it seemed a little pixel perfect, and it's one of those things where sometimes it was definitely me. After beat, it really is. I wonder if it's like the Harvest Moon games. Well, yeah, I think the Harvest Moon games were doing it, but you're right. Before Stardew, it was like Harvest Moon, and that's it. And then, yeah, I feel like after Stardew Valley, it started coming back. I guess there's Farming Simulator. But I agree, like, the farming simulation genre is definitely making a comeback. Sometimes I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it is nice to, like, have this genre where anyone can look for games, but at the same time, sometimes it seems like there is a lot and there's very little distinction between them. Wait, they became mobile games? Well, isn't there, like, legit Harvest Moon, and then there's, like, another developer that isn't the Harvest Moon devs, but they kind of took over or something? I think my sister said something about that, because she got Story of Seasons, and she really liked it. But no, you're right, I think Stardew Valley kind of put it back on the map because it was made by one guy just trying to learn C++, and then, like, Stardew Valley did amazing. Got bought out. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. It sounds like most mobile games. I'm a sucker. I've been playing Delicious World. Pretty good mobile game. Or for the iPad, but I'm a sucker for it. But yeah, I heard like one's pretty good and the other one is not that great. But back to the Darkest Tales. Yeah, it seemed a little... Is the devs make the old Harvest Moon basically... Yeah, I remember playing like the old Harvest Moon a lot. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked the music, so I played it. But that was more down my sister's alley. I'm shocked with how much I fell in love with Stardew Valley. Anyway, I'm getting off track. which is me. I knew this would happen. I go live, we'd be chatting. Oh god. Yeah, their names, the teddy bear's named Teddy, and the fairy is named Lighty, which is fine. Very beautiful game, very haunting at times. I talked about it before, but it was a surprising twist on fairy tale games, which I feel are not as... Surprisingly, it's a genre that doesn't take off more, but I thought it was a good spin on it. So, looking forward to where it goes. Probably will get it, because at first I think I complained about, well, he swings slow, but there's skill trees, you can level him up. I think the platforming part can use a little work, but other than that, I thought it was done very well. The voice acting wasn't bad, but it wasn't the greatest. The teddy bear was fine. A Little Red Riding Hood was fine. They need to get a new Navi. I think the problem for me is she has that voice. But if she weren't such an annoying character who just constantly seemed like she was shitting on Teddy, I think that I could get over it, because some people can't do anything about the sound of their voice. And yeah, it's a little higher up, but it's the fact that's higher up, and she's trying to... I guess she's supposed to be a fun breath of fresh air. I think she's a little shitter. Yeah, he's not the one that's possessed. It's... Alicia is sleeping, and her dreams are being invaded by demons. Teddy's fine. Teddy's feeling abandonment from Alicia. But that was the Darkest Tales. Uh-oh. The Inheritance of Crimson Manor. I thought I would love this game. I thought it'd be fun. His voice was just a man voice. I thought we'd go into Manor, it would be creepy, it would be scary, it would be full of puzzles. And yeah, it was full of puzzles. And I guess you're the executor of the guy's will, and the guy was kind of messed up, is what you slowly learn. The puzzles were... Some of them were kind of good. It didn't take a... It felt like there were puzzles where you could get the answers if you look around, but there wasn't a lot of logic to it. Nothing wrong with the art style. There was just really nothing that... Other than I playing this demo to see where it goes, there was nothing that made me want to continue. There's nothing that like pulled me and saying keep going to see where this goes. I think I stopped at a point where one puzzle seemed like it was more trouble than it would end up being worth. There were a lot of newspaper parts that I thought would have been cool to read and get an idea because, you know, lore. But there's a lot of stuff you couldn't pick up and investigate, which if you have a walking sim, which this kind of was, you know, walking sim / puzzle game, you gotta give the player a lot to inspect, play with, examine, all of that good stuff. But The Inheritance of Crimson Manor, wanted to love it. I didn't think it was bad, but there was really nothing gripping about it other than dad got messed up and the kids were scared of him. But I didn't play long enough to find out why. But I'm kind of curious to see where it will go. See if maybe it gets better. Because I was looking through, and the devs are, thankfully, on their discussion boards, listening to what the players have to say. So, I'll see where it goes. Maybe if they have another demo out, because some devs do apparently choose to keep their demos after the festival. So maybe I'll keep an eye out. If they have another demo, I'll go back into it. I'm willing to give it another chance because there was a limit for when they had to get their demo out. So I think sometimes with that in place, some ideas just get thrown out the window for them to like pick up and get back to. I can't imagine how much stress it is for a dev with these demos. There is no light. It was kind of a dark game. It was actually, I was bad at it, but I enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it was the controller or the sensitivity of the game. Sometimes it would just do things without me wanting it to. A couple things weren't explained for combat. Like, if you used your rage, your special power, then you couldn't then use that weapon for a while, which I don't think I realized. Sometimes you can't attack for a bit. I don't know why, and I felt like the hitboxes were somewhat on, like, I felt like the wolves wouldn't make an animation to attack me, but I would get attacked anyway. I think that felt a little unfair, but overall, I thought that There Is No Light was very interesting. I thought the setting of life is shit, there's a higher power, but there's like 80,000 things that aren't allowed. And everyone hates their life, but they're hoping for a better tomorrow, I guess. I thought it was interesting. I thought that they did a good job of making the place just seem dreadful. I don't know why you, the character, go out to travel. They don't really explain that. You wake up and you're off to adventure. But I enjoy seeing where it'll go. The Whispering Valley. The way you have to walk in it kind of reminded me of Myst. You play as a father, I forgot his name, Father something, and one of your other buddies is dying, so you're gonna go visit him. And it seems like you're in an abandoned village because it's late and everyone is at home and there's puzzles to do. There was not a lot wrong. I thought the atmosphere was good, but I felt like it was also hard to tell where you were supposed to go. And you could click like 20 times and it would act like you didn't have any input. I wanted to love it because like the art alone is what got me to download it. I think it was in the horror section. The biggest horror was trying to figure out where you're supposed to go next. But, okay, I say that. There was a dog I could pet, and there was a cat I could pet, and they both had animations, and they had happy noises when you pet them. So you know what? Even though I ended up not wanting to play the Whispering Valley, it had good to it. It did have puzzles. I don't think I got to a lot of them because I just kind of stopped playing. But even though it was the inferior game, it did... Right? It did that. It shows you an animal and you can pet it. And that's something I didn't mention within Soundbind, is that you can pet a cat. But yeah, the Whispering Valley had petting animals, so good job, the Whispering Valley. The wiki. I closed out of this game so fast. It seemed interesting at first. You're in a room. Some Scottish voice says something to you, but the game doesn't have subtitles, but you don't know what. You open a door, you go through, you're on a boat. It's like 3D, but all the characters are 2D. You can talk to them, and you have different things you can say to them, but none of it was particularly interesting. I could not figure out for the life of me where to go. Everything was very red. So I didn't stick with this one for too long. I don't know where it's going because based on what it said, it sounded very interesting. It talked about cults and the like, but I didn't stick around for it because I was just straight up not enjoying myself. Tormented Souls. It had a beautiful heroine. Her name was... Claudia, I think? I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. But it was very interesting. It was reminiscent of Resident Evil without trying to seem like a carbon copy. Like, it had the... not quite over the shoulder, but it had the same, like, camera angles. Kind of scary. I think it had a very interesting beginning that really gripped me quickly. It had some puzzles. I thought it had a lot of good going for it. I almost didn't install it because I looked at it and I thought it was like same old what every other horror game is trying to go for, where they have scary monsters that you gotta shoot. But I installed it anyway because I always tell myself, it's a carbon copy, because there are games that are carbon copies. But if it's a free demo, it's a free demo. So I installed it, and I'm glad I did. I thought Tormented Souls was pretty good. I felt pretty great about some of the puzzles I solved in it. I died. I could not find a save point, so when I died, that was it. I played it for, I believe, an hour, died, didn't want to start all the way at the beginning, but I played enough to get the gist. I thought there were some things that felt a little rough, but again, I believe the devs only had so much time before they had to get their demo up. So, look forward to it, see where it goes. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but that's just how it is. Even if I don't like the game, I think there's enough going. Hey Spencer, how you doing? I think there's enough going on with these games that I'm just curious where they go. Will they change my mind? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Sugunoi. Yeah. I didn't get very far. It kind of is. It's awards for the Steam Next Festival. There was a game festival on Steam. It started last week. It ended about an hour ago. An hour, 15 minutes ago. So I played a lot of demos throughout the week, and this is the award ceremony for it. So for every demo that I played, some of them got nominated for awards, and right now I'm just going through in alphabetical order what games I played and giving some brief thoughts on how I felt about them before I get into the award, because I don't want to say anything too much, you know, because I do have everything written down, but I feel they all do need to be mentioned because I thought there was a lot of good going on. A lot, not so much, but these devs, let's face it, I'm just here with an award ceremony. The devs did all the heavy lifting. The Sugunoi, localized in English. It came out in Japan. I don't know when. I should have looked that up, but that's how it goes with a live ceremony. You do everything you can, and then you realize what you've forgotten. I got scared of this game. I didn't play that much of it, but just based off of the very little I played, I think it would have done a really good job if someone wanted to have a scary night with all the lights turned out, under a blanket, lots of water, or whatever the preferred drink is. Mine would be water or a cold brew. If they keep the demo up, maybe I'll try it again on stream, but I think I'd already played too many scary games, and thank you. I think I just had too much horror, and just something happened to Sugunoi, and I was done. So, good job to the devs. Who actually are the devs for this? That's the thing, is I don't know a lot about this one. Vodka Game Magazine and I'm Cyan. Oh, Playism is one of the publishers. Are the devs? I have no idea, to be honest with you. It's more an award ceremony because I like them, not because I just did it for fun. The last festival, which was in February, I did an awards ceremony. I had a lot of fun with it, so I decided that I was gonna do it a little better this time, and like buy a podium, wear something nice, and just do something bigger for it. Thank you. Thank you. So if the devs are watching, and I don't mean this, but like, I thank you. But no, it's for me. It's for me. But yeah, Sugunoi, I might try again at a later date, but the little I did see, I like scary things. And finally, unpacking. Another one I didn't think I would download, because it was like, unpack things and put it away in its place, and I don't want to think about moving. It's a story you don't ever see the kid, but you know it's a kid. I have to move in a few months. I don't want to think of unpacking. I don't want to think of moving. I got it anyway, though. It was real cute. There were a few things I questioned. You had like clothes in a box, and then you had a toaster. I didn't think that the packing was done that well. If you don't have certain things in a specific item or specific place, they wouldn't let you move on. And yes, there was an option to go, do not tell me where to put my things, or like take out the puzzle aspects. That's what I was saying. Like, I haven't moved a lot, but I've moved enough that I put like items with like items. If there's like one random thing, I'll put it where I can, but in general, I don't like it. So my biggest thing about unpacking is that, like, I put the diary in a drawer somewhere that people would not have thought of. It wasn't quite a bookshelf, but like there were doors to it. Nope, that's not where you put it. And I do want the puzzle aspect, but it felt like there were some things where, no, it's not where we want you to put it, so you're not allowed. And I don't think I was about that. That was my biggest thing, is that they're trying to tell you the perfect place. Like, obviously, toilet paper goes in the bathroom. That's fine. But I wish that there were some items that they were a little more lenient with, and that's it. Other than that, unpacking was very charming. It was very good. I think you're having a bad day at work, draw on unpacking. Little bit of something to keep your mind going, but not so much that you get stressed out, unless like breathing air the wrong way stresses you out. So I liked it a lot. I liked unpacking a lot. Where are we gonna end up? Oh, Yua's Nightmare! I forgot about it. Never mind. This is the last one. Yua's Nightmare. I didn't play it for a long time. It starts off, don't know what's happening, honestly, but you have to like pack up your shit and go. And the ragdoll physics stopped me from wanting to continue. I was trying to put like items away, because every so often a radio broadcast would say, oh, there's an emergency, get out as quickly as you can. I believe they give you like a 10-minute 10 minutes to like pack whatever. They say you want this, and anything else I believe you can pack up, right? But the ragdoll, if you just like walk the wrong way, 80 things fly in like 67 directions, and I was not about it. It frustrated me so much. So what I thought would be a fun little, maybe fever dreamish based on the cover art, what I thought would be that, it just ended up being frustrating. So I quit, but I thought the idea was fun. Execution could use some work. And I don't, well, generally I'm not a person that gets frustrated easily, but that was really stopping me from wanting to keep playing. Because the good thing is everything does generally stay in the bag you're packing. But if the bag flies off, then so does everything else, and it doesn't give you the time to pack what you want to. So, you as nightmares, maybe you'll be fixed, maybe you won't, maybe I'll play you again, maybe I won't, probably won't, but you were an interesting concept that needed better execution, and that's not your fault. So, ignore that. So, those were the demos. Now, I said it before, I will say it again. While there were 30 games, unfortunately, not all of them did make it to the final categories, of which we have... Oh no, I'm miscounting. Give me a second. Okay. We have 12. Well, technically 13, but yeah, we have about 13 categories to go through. So let me just catch my breath, get some water. I had a lot of announcing to do. I did not want to go off on any of those games because some of them we will get to later. So, with those game introductions out of the way, we should get right to the awards. So, let's turn this music off. And let's turn on the actual award deck. Doesn't it? This is what I have a lot of time into, looking for the perfect music. So, our first award for the Steam Next Fest Awards ceremony is Best Atmosphere. And our nominees are In Sound Mind, Risu, There Is No Light, and Tormented Souls. All of these did an amazing job of almost putting me in the game, immersing me and feeling the same way that the hero did. But there can only be one winner, and that winner is... Tormented Souls. I think they did the best job. I think they put you in a scary hospital, and like Claudette or Claudia or whatever the heroines, yes, thank you. They did a good job of immersing me. I was a little scared of what was going to be coming out of the corner, and so is the main heroine. So, congratulations to them. The next award for Best Box Art, our nominees are Chasing Static, In Sound Mind, and Risu. All of them, of the 30 demos, I came down to these three because they all had phenomenal art and they all had different things going. In Sound Mind comes with all of its colorfulness. Risu has a beautiful illustration, and Chasing Static, this guy looks like he's going insane. But which one of these three, which one can be deemed as having the best box art? And so... Why? I've never played Mario Party. So I don't know what that means, unfortunately. Anyway, the winner for best box art goes to Risu. The illustration won out. Oh, really? I should count it then. I was thinking of that as I was rewriting and putting all the nominations and the winners. I was like, I should do a count to see who actually won the most awards. I realized it too late. Anyway, congratulations, Risu. Your illustration is beautiful. It invokes a feeling of being scared. It's beautifully haunting, in my opinion. You have won your award fair and square. Congratulations to you. And so, next award goes to the best hidden gem. And our nominees are Nummels and Unpacking. Both of these, I wasn't very sure. I'm not sure I would have thought to download them or play them of my own volition. Nummels I took as a request, but quickly fell in love with. Unpacking I grabbed because I figured I might as well. But with that said, which game is the best hidden gem? They're both very good, both very colorful. Their gameplay was different, but both were very fun and in a way relaxing. So which one would be considered the winner and the best gem? So now we go. Who is the best hidden gem? The award best hidden gem goes to Nummels. With its lemming-like gameplay, its colorful art, its fun box art, the fact that you can't help but love those stupid idiots that you have to protect, it has won the hearts of many, and it is the winner. So congratulations to Nummels, and congratulations to... This is an award ceremony. We're very serious, sir. I have to ask you to please excuse yourself if you can't. If you can't stop being so goddamn funny. This water bottle is new, and it's bigger. But sometimes water hops up from it, and I'm shocked every time. Next up, we have best in-game art style. Which game has the best art style within it? And our nominees are Glimmer and Mirror, Heaven Dust 2, and The Darkest Tales. There were a lot of good games. These three in particular had a distinct art style to them. And which one can we deem the winner? They've all tried very hard. They all have good things going, but only one cuisine can reign supreme. And so, the winner for the best in-game art style is Glimmer and Mirror. with its use of autumn colors, the cute companions, the beautiful backgrounds that come with it, and the characters that just, they're very cute despite the serious story. It has won the hearts of me, your host, Moose, and therefore it wins the trophy for having the best in-game art style. Congratulations. Next up, the award for best soundtrack. All these games, they did their best, but only a few had a very distinct soundtrack. And so, the nominees are Glimmer and Mirror, Glitched, and My Time at Sandrock. All of the soundtracks in these games were delightful, relaxing, reminiscent of games of my childhood, but nothing bad about them. Nothing that made me think this is a downer. And so, while all three of these had a very good soundtrack that I distinctly remember talking about, only one can reign supreme. So, with that said, for best soundtrack, the winner of this category is Glitched. Glitch stood out. Though I played the demo actually for a very good amount of time, there were 6 bosses, and every single boss had their own song. Zero me up. Which one? Clayton or the Bebo? Even just going around in town, it was very good. So congratulations to Glitched. You have won best soundtrack. So next up, best sound effects. I will say there were certain games where the sound effects were just very well used, very calming, and yet they made such a difference in setting the scene and immersing you in the game. So with that said, the nominees for best sound effects are Chasing Static, In Sound Mind, and Risu. I didn't realize this when I was putting up the nominees, but all 3 of these did an amazing job of making me feel a certain way as I went through each demo. But there can only be one winner. If it were up to me, all of them would win, but it's not up to me, and I do need to be very unbiased. And so, with all that said, the winner for this category, Best Sound Effects, the award goes to In Sound Mind. At first, it was fine. You know, there was the running around, the telephones. There were a lot of telephones. But what really got me, what really stood out, was the terrifying sound of things scuttling around as you walk past several mannequins. It really creeped up on me. It made me think this mannequin is gonna choke me out. So with all of that, the telephones, the running around, scary mannequin sounds of something just slinking, In Sound Mind is the clear choice for best sound effects of the 2021 Steam Next Fest Awards ceremony. Next up, for categories, we have Funniest Game. And the nominees for the funniest game are Glitched, Missing the Complete Saga, and Nummels. All funny in their own right. Missing the Complete Saga, I don't think they meant for it to be funny, but let's be real, that demo was rough, and therefore, it has made the list of funniest game, because I laughed a lot with that game. They didn't mean to, it was unintentional, but I gotta be real, I think because of that, I didn't have worse things to say. But let's face it, Mom was hysterical. Nummels, seeing your little idiots die, it was kind of funny. Just, they can't do anything. They're dumb. How could you not laugh? And Glitched. Those frogs just going on about how much they hate their lives and their jobs was all too real. And sometimes you gotta laugh at how shit life is. So, there we go. Our funniest games nominees. But, unfortunately, there can only be one winner. And so, with all of that said, the winner of the 2021 Steam Next Best Game Awards is Glitched. It seems like we're halfway through. Damn. I didn't realize. Who needs a break? But thank you all so much for coming here. We do still have many awards to hand out, but if it weren't for people like you, this might not have come about. You know, you were there when I laugh. You're there when I cry. You're there when I just can't get over how ridiculous the game is. And so because of this, because of your support, I was able to get this podium. And so, here's to you, beautiful viewers. Thank you. And thank you to Glitched for being funny. I look forward to your future. The dev seems to have it together. He shares a lot of his progress. I've been keeping up with him. I think this game has a lot. Thank you. It was very expensive. How are you doing? So, have the funniest game. So the next category is I liked it, but for this category, it's for games that I really enjoyed, but there's just something about it that really makes me stop and think. And so, the nominees for the award of I liked it but are Frontier Hunter, Mondili, and Unpacking. All of them great games in and of themselves, but each of them have something that really make me question it as a game and if I want to support it. And so, with all of that said, with it sounding like a complete attack on the devs, the winner of the award for games I liked, but mine too. The winner is Mondili. Can I say, since we're here, actually, this category, I said I was unbiased. This category was made specifically for Mondili, but when I thought of it, those other two games as well. As I said, Frontier Hunter, yes, the controls were loose. Yes, there was auto text, but that's okay. Unpacking, more of a nitpick, but Mondili, almost gets in its own way. It's not even the rough translation. I can understand it's one guy from Russia. English isn't his first language. That's fine. It's just how he goes about with his character gallery. You know, he talks a little too much about, I have an inspiration specifically from here. I had iterations, but they all sucked. He gives them personality traits and then breaks them a minute later. But I mentioned earlier, I did delve deeper into this game. I went to the discussion boards because I was curious. One person said they liked the game. However, they thought it was a bit stale. And they gave some pretty good critique, you know, about the storyline. The guy goes into this underground place and the creatures just accept him. And they thought that there wasn't enough tension. And I don't disagree. I don't think I would have thought of that, but I knew what he was saying. He wasn't trying to be mean. He even complimented parts of the game. And the reason I said I'm very unsure about supporting the dev, which I might, as I said, this game is charming, but what really took it for me was the dev said, well, it's because I wanted it to go this way, and they're all so busy with their own thing that they hardly notice that the guy's different, or something to that effect. It's almost like he didn't take the critique at all, and instead explained, well, this is why it is the way it is, and this is why you're wrong, so here's an understanding as to why you're wrong. And it's one thing, you know, if that's his idea, that is okay. But I felt like it was more deflection rather than I'll take that into consideration. But we'll see. I did say that he did seem like he was very sensitive about criticism. We'll see where he goes. Maybe he will grow up as a developer because, as I said, I get it. You know, I had to do a lot of critiques. Did I like them? I mean, I did because I do like growing. Sometimes you do have to defend why you made choices, and that's okay. Yeah. I mean, there were a couple things I can understand why he's saying this was the choice, but I felt some of the answers weren't an answer rather than, well, this is why. Which is an answer in and of itself, but if other people mention it, then that means that it does seem odd. Because as I said, even though I didn't notice it, I didn't necessarily disagree with the guy who was saying that it was stale and he would have liked a little more tension about everything that was going on. Because tension does build character development. And if everyone was just like terrified, then it would have been more like, oh, I want to win them over because I think they have the wrong idea, rather than, oh, they accept me, so I want to be their friend. But for that reasoning, or maybe being too insecure about something, because, you know, if people don't, unfortunately, it's not for everyone. I think he has a lot to learn. I'm hoping that he does what he wants to with Mondili. I'll be keeping a close eye out on it. I did think it was charming otherwise, but there are a lot of things that I think will stick in my head that I'll think about a lot. So, congratulations, Mondili. I did like you. I will get over your developer. I think he will grow because I believe this is his first project, so I hope he can grow with it. And, you know, he'll see that people do love his game, but there's just some things that it's okay for a person not to think about everything. Or, because you can't. If you have like 80,000 things on your brain, you aren't going to think of everything. And it's going to be hard when it's just one person without anyone to bounce off of. So I do hope he can get this feedback and just kind of learn that yes, he might have an idea, but that doesn't mean it has to be set in stone, and he can change things. If it might mean, yes, he can get some of his ideas through, but maybe even it can become a better product because of it. And with that said, everyone's first project is not going to be great. Like, not to say that they'll be bad, but your first project, you learn after that what you can do better. So, good job, Mundili. Moving on. The award for most compelling game. What game is it that made me want to keep going? The nominees are Heaven Dust 2, You've Been Captured, You Wake Up. I don't know if you have amnesia, I don't remember, but you wake up in a hospital, everyone is zombies, and you have to figure out what's going on, and your only friend is Alex, who leaves you notes. The journey begins. In Sound Mind, you wake up in a dark basement, you have amnesia, you don't know what's going on, but you're a psychiatrist. And Tormented Souls. There's 2 missing little girls. You go to an abandoned hospital in Canada to investigate. You get knocked out, and when you awaken, you're naked in a bathtub with a tube down your throat. These were the 3 most compelling games to me. I thought they're interesting, there's enough going on, and that the devs did, where I want to continue playing to see where it would go. So, the award for the most compelling game of this list goes to... I forgot what I was doing for a second. I almost switched scenes. In Sound Mind. Wait. I think I made a big oopsie. Hold on. Oh. Oh. Congratulations to Tormented Souls! I think I know exactly what happened. I think I took, because I did it yesterday, I worked on all this. I think what happened is I started with In Sound Mind, and I would switch out the game and the trophy and the text, and I think I just forgot to switch out In Sound Mind for something else. Because I was like, wait a second. It's in my head as Tormented Souls. I have it written down as Tormented Souls. How did that happen? Sorry, Tormented. Shout out to In Sound Mind, though, because I do think that was a really good game, and it actually was a really hard tie between the two. But I thought that the beginning part, when she gets knocked out and she wakes up naked in a bathtub with a tube down her throat, was fucking terrifying. And like, oh, they removed her eye too. They removed her eye as well. So that compels me, like, what the fuck's going on? Other than we're in a haunted hospital in Canada, fun. It was in the 60s, I think it was abandoned. So, sorry, In Sound Mind. Love you a lot. I love who makes your soundtrack, but we gotta give the award to Tormented Souls because they're the winner. I'm glad I could make you laugh. Because I was thinking last night, I was like, oh, if I mess something up. But at the same time, that's part of the charm of a live show, is like, you have all these things set to go, and then something like this happens, and I thought I double checked too. I like triple checked, quadruple checked. I was like, I think I got it all, and clearly I don't. So, most compelling game goes to, yeah. Oh, I think no, that's not the issue. Okay. Congratulations again, Tormented Souls. I'm sorry that I messed this up for you, but, you know, you got this. And so, next up, the award for the most disappointing game. Listen, even if I did a rehearsal, I don't think I would remember what to say. I don't have any of this. All I have written down are like the nominees and the winners and everything. It's a live show. If the Grammys can do it, I can do it. So. How did it make it pass? Okay, so the award for the most disappointing, the nominees are Frank and Drake, Spirit of the Island, and The Whispering Valley. Big shock to all parties involved. But all of these I wanted to love. Frank and Drake, I wasn't sure. I downloaded it. I thought I'd be making a lot of Drake and Josh jokes, but I didn't play it long enough. Spirit of the Island, I don't know. I just want Stardew Valley 2.0. The Whispering Valley, I'm a sucker for scary games. And look at this box art. Look at this box art. Like, stop. Fine. But, you know, they were all disappointing. They were all good games in their own right. But just, of all the games I played, and there were a few others I just was not happy with, these were the top 3 that I was disappointed in because I really wanted to love them. But only one of these games could be the highest level of disappointment in my life. And so, the winner for the award for the most disappointing game goes to The Whispering Valley. Oh, can't hear, hold on. Shut up.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Now, I talked about before, you had to click a lot for it to register that you were doing anything. I think the game could have done with letting you use the keyboard to move around, you know, WASD, the usual suspects. I thought that the puzzle I ran into was based on, I couldn't figure out. It's like, oh, well, you should know the safe lock because you've heard it so much, so it must be ingrained in your memory. No one wanted to help me. There was like one lady, she gives me a key, and then she's like, good luck. But it was easy to get lost because there's no way to know where you are. There wasn't a lot to look at. And the best part of the game, in my opinion, was the fact that you could pet the cat and the dog, and they purred and they barked, and I think the dog panted happily. But overall, very disappointed in the Wishbone Valley because it's one of the few that I was like, you know, I'm actually looking forward to playing this a lot. So, with all of that said, it's the winner. I know they have families, but maybe they should have thought about that before they became the games that they became. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, moving on. Next category of this ceremony. Most fun to play. The nominees for this game, for this category, is Glitched, Miscellaneous, A Tiny Tale, and Nummels. All of them very fun. There were a lot of fun demos, but these three took the whole ass cake. Glitched, with being able to examine everything, the fun characters, the bright locale. Miscellaneous, 3D platforming game, very beautiful. In my opinion, it seems pretty next gen in terms of its graphical style. You jump around, you collect things, there's trials. I didn't make the trials. I tried, I kept falling to my death, but I still had a lot of fun with it. You can hover. Oh my god, and there's cute robots. So, and Nummels, again, these fucking idiots that I got overly attached to, which I didn't think would happen. How could I not love it? These three were the most fun to play, but even though I am the host and the director and the producer and everything else, only one can win. And so, with that said, the winner of the award for the game that was the most fun to play goes to Glitched. There's a lot of achievements. A lot of the characters are really funny. I think the battle system was pretty fun. The music has nothing to do with it, but the music was good. And overall, if it weren't for the fact... we don't know that. We don't know that. What tipped you off? We don't know that. There could be others. I've played a lot of demos since Glitched. But I think that of all the games, definitely Glitched, I keep coming back to for just what game did I have the most fun in? And I think this one, So, congratulations, Glitched. You're walking away with a trophy. And finally, the last category for scariest game. I don't poop my pants often, but when I do, it's because I decided, haha, I'm gonna play a scary game. I'm gonna play some psychological horror. See, that's why I don't tend to play scary games in October, because I feel like that's what everyone does, and I'm different. So, the nominees for the scariest demo are In Sound Mind, Tormented Souls, and Sugunohi. All scary. In Sound Mind, I was having a good time. I was having a good time until it didn't even pop up. I believe, because I think Twitch is a little broken. I tried to today pop out like my activity feed, my chat. It wouldn't pop out. It acted like it popped out, but nothing came up. And yesterday, when I was trying to start making clips, it would make the clips, but it wouldn't come up with a separate page. It would just make them. So I couldn't do any editing, so I might need to download the VODs and go from there, which would be a shame. That means the clips will not be done in a timely manner. But moving on. I had to leave In Sound Mind because I looked away from a safe and I believe it was this guy here. He was just staring at me and it didn't register right away. It took me a second, but it scared the bejesus out of me. Tormented Souls. Oh, real. That beginning I talked about a lot of her in the bathtub. That's a little terrifying. The general aesthetic, the location, the enemies, they were pretty scary. I'll be real. You know, it kind of starts off as, oh, there's two missing twins and they went missing 1,000 years ago. Nothing special, but I think there's other things that made the game a little terrifying. And lastly, Sugunohi. I don't think I made it 5 minutes in that game. I think I was done. And unfortunately, it's because I played a bunch of other scary games before it. But all of them very good games in their own right, in my very biased opinion. So, with that said, of these games, I'm trying to make sure that no one sees my cards. Which game reigns supreme for scariest game? The winner for the scariest game is Sugunohi. If a game is so scary that I don't even want to play it, that's pure terror right there. You know, the fact, because I feel a lot of like scary Japanese games that just don't get localized to English. Probably because people feel that they just won't be well received in America because the cultures are so different. But as I said, I might go back to this because I'm a little curious. I'm hoping the demo will stay there. If it doesn't, that's all on me. But when I did go to check on the game, it did look like the demo was still around. So I think there's high hopes for whenever I stream next. But congratulations to Sugunohi. Now, we have one more plan thing, but Marcus, you mentioned the star at the end in Mario Party. Whoever wins the most gets bonus stars. So I think I want to do that. So let me look through. Let me see who won the most, and then we'll give them their own award. So let's see. 1 for Tormented Souls. 1 for Risu. 1 for Nummels. 1 for Glimmer in Mirror. 1 for Glitched. 1 for In Sound Mind. 2 for Glitch. 1 for Mondili. 2 for Tormented Souls. 1 for the Whispering Valley, but is that really an award if you get thrown in the trash can? I'm sorry, my teeth are getting caught up in the main screen. 3 for Glitched, and 1 for Sugu Nogi. So Glitched has won the most awards, so they deserve a star. So let's take this time, let's think on the awards. Let's think on how hard all of these demos have worked. You know, I can't imagine it's easy for the devs. Already they're nervous how their games will be received. Will they be received? Because there are a lot of demos to go through, and no real easy way to really look at them all. And obviously there's hundreds. Unless someone doesn't sleep, guess that means you gotta sub. If you sub to me, you get Where are my emotes? Yeah, I can't see my emotes and I should have them. I think Twitch is broken. I can't see my own channel emotes. Hold on, will they even show up if I type them? Okay, I don't know why they're not showing up. You'll get that, you'll get this, and you'll get this newly added one. All for subbing to me. No, don't. I mean, if you want to. There we go. Perfect. All right, we're almost there. One more thing. All right. And so, pretend that's not there. So, Glitched, for being a winner, you get a gold star. For winning the most awards, you get the gold star of excellence. Congratulations to Glitched. And so, finally, the big award, the big thing. Of all the games I played, there were 3 I loved the most. 10% of what I played has made it to the finals. I liked most of the games. Some I didn't. Some I liked, but I took some issues with. And some can just leave and never return. I'm talking to you with the Whispering Valley. But only 3 can reign supreme. And so, in 3rd place, we have Risu. Good atmosphere, enjoyed the graphics. It was a weird twist of like PS1, but then it also looked a little nicer. The box art was great. The sound effects were good. I was so curious about what was happening and what was going to happen. They made a good use of you are in a school and it's bright out and the lights are shining through too. It's dark and scary and you're probably gonna die. I couldn't say I was scared through the game, but I felt a little on edge, as I said, thinking that something was going to come after me. And so with that said, I am very excited for when this releases. Does it have a release date? Is the fest still going? 2021. Because, like, I have all my demos. It doesn't matter. Anyway, congratulations to Risu. You are our 3rd place winner. I'm very excited. I'm gonna be real. Risu? Yeah. Risu and In Sound Mind were almost neck and neck for 3rd place. And at first I wondered, should they share the stage? But then I really thought about it, and as much as I really loved In Sound Mind, I think of Risu a little more. Like, if they both came out on the same day, which I don't think so, because I believe August 3rd is the release date for In Sound Mind. But if they were to both release on the same day, I think I would want to play Risu first. Sorry, In Sound Mind. You're great. Loved Living Tombstone. You were a really good demo. No issues as far as I could see, but Risu's cute. In 2nd place is Glimmer and Mirror. Translation was a little rough, but you know what? It was a cute game. I really enjoyed playing it. The platforming was very good in my opinion. The fact that you can just befriend a bunch of animals and travel with them, and they all do different things for your stats, which in my opinion is great because it's not like a huge amount of room to be like, oh, this is my type of play style. But in a sense, depending on how you play, the different status effects change or to help you. So Glimmer and Hope, not too much wrong. As I said, bit of a rough translation here and there, but you can still generally understand what they're trying to say. You go, you touch a mirror, you're in a different world, you've got to figure out what's happening, why this happened, and you get to play as a cute blue-haired girl. So I'm very, 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 very much looking forward to Glimmer and Mirror. And finally, in 1st place, are we all wondering what this 1st place game is? Because I don't know. I had my sister decide. in first place is Glitched. Oh, I should have grabbed the star. You didn't. Hold on, we're doing some live editing. Glitch was phenomenal. It was the standout of 2021. You could examine everything. It all had different dialogue. If you do enough achievement things, a weird octopus hops out and he hits you with some straight up wisdom, and he throws confetti at you and he says, "Congratulations, you did this thing." And the game was just funny and I smiled a lot and I enjoy, and just, it's the winner. It's the winner for sure. Congratulations, Glitched. And congratulations to all of the games that participated, because without them, this ceremony would not be. Now, let us think deeply on the festival and what could have been. I love the festival. During the last 2 days, I felt a little rushed because I had things to do. I still chose to stream anyway. But I do wish, as much as I love the festival, and I do like that indie devs do get an opportunity to show off what they're working on. That's great. I just wish there was a bit of an easier way to get through everything, because they talk about hundreds of demos and you can choose like subgenres and I think moods and themes, but I still do say I wish that there had been a way where you just scroll through all of them, or maybe if there's someone with some insane hard drive, have a download all button and then just go from there, even if you have to keep your computer on for 3 days. In the time as it's downloading, just go and play every demo. I wonder if someone has done that and wrote up a huge ass blog article about, here's what I played, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like. Kind of what I did today, except not really. Kind of. I guess I did go on about what games and which I liked and which I didn't, and I tried to do it in a way so that no one could figure out what won any of the categories. But again, let's go through real quick to say congratulations once more. Okay, sorry. I got... Oh my god, stop. I mean, I... Alright. So... Wanted... Hold on, I need to do this a certain way because of how Photoshop works. So, let's go through once more. Tormented Souls for Best Atmosphere. Again, I was on the edge of my seat. My gun, let's face it, my nail gun sucked. But, great atmosphere, air of mystery, we're in Canada. Did a pretty good job. Risu won for best box art, because I'm gonna be real, if you have such beautiful illustrations of, oops. You can see any of that. I'm sorry. Where is it? Best atmosphere, Tormented Souls. They did it. They are the Canadian winners. Everything is scary, and does it have a release date? We should be checking that as well. I didn't even think of it. Tormented Nightmares, Tormented Souls. 2021. Oh, the developers broadcasting it. Good for them. I wonder if there's a way where we can watch past broadcasts on Steam. Probably not, but I think that would be nice. So, congratulations to Dual Effect and Abstract Digital. Absolutely loved Tormented Souls. I'm very excited, and can't wait to see what you do. So next, back to Risu. The developers for Risu are Ryan Trawick. I think what he has going is going well. I can't think of much I would change. He did, I don't know if he did the box art or if he like got someone to do the box art. Cause the dev for Nummels was talking about how he had a friend do the illustration. So either way, lived up to the box art, which is how I decided what to download. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Glimmer and Mirror. Again, beautiful colors, cutesy art style. I'm a sucker for an anime game, so is it that surprising that it won? I don't know. I say it was unbiased, but you need to have some bias win. You know, especially because I didn't ask the audience at all. You guys just showed up not knowing what was gonna happen. But good job, Glimmer and Mirror. Good job, devs. I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future. Nummels, talked about it already. Quick update. These are your children. They're fucking stupid. They won't stop chewing gum unless you jump on them. They drown, they fall off cliffs, they explode if they jump from too high. But you want to keep them safe, and you can. And the game, I didn't talk about it, but if you get enough coins, which is for clearing levels, plus how many nummels you saved, I think plus how long you take, you can then customize your own character. Beautiful. Character customization. Love it in games. Love it in Nummels. Congratulations. You won an award. Congratulations to Nate. I'm excited to see the work that he's doing behind the scenes to better the game outside of the demo. In Soundmind, scary sound effects. I don't like the mannequins. Not like take them out, but I just don't like mannequins in games. They freak me out. I've seen a lot of weeping angels in my life. I'm in a horror game, I'm never gonna like them. They're always gonna come for you. So congratulations to In Sound Mind for best sound effects. Let's move on. Glitched. My bias might have won out a little. I didn't want it to, but that just, in my opinion, goes to show you how good a game Glitched is, because they won a lot of awards and they were my top game for sure. Congratulations. Demo is great. No complaints. I can't wait for a release date. Oh, and also done by N-House Studios. It says coming soon, so we don't know when exactly soon is, but whenever it is, I'm getting it and I'm streaming it for like 8 days straight or however long. Glitched again, very funny. Some pretty sick references. The frogs are the best part of the game. They work for Frog Inc. The game can be pretty real at times, and I think that helps with the humor, because it's not dated humor in any way. Sometimes you go back to games and and Like, they make jokes, but you're like, doesn't really work in this day and age. But I think Glitched, I think the humor is gonna hit no matter what. Even if you don't get the sick references, that's okay. Mondili, I won't go on anymore. I feel like I already unloaded on them. I hope that the div gets more secure in himself. Because I do think he has some good ideas. I just, hope he can hear the feedback and not take it as an attack. I don't think he took it that way, but I also don't think he fully listened to what the person was trying to say. But very charming. Some cute references, and then too many are in your face. But we'll see where it ends up. We'll see if I want to support the dev. We'll see. Okay, hold on. I think I opened the wrong one. There we go. Sorry, in sound mine. Oh, I feel like imagine the game takes it out on me. They're like, listen, we thought we won. You fucked up. Where is our award? But it was pretty compelling. It was actually a real tough fight between the two. But Tormented Souls, another trophy for you. Congratulations. While it might not be the most super original, you kind of broke it apart after a few minutes, got something new, got something terrifying. I'm gonna poop myself when it comes out. Congratulations to Dual Effect and Abstract Digital. I am looking so forward. I'm not a big Resident Evil fan, and while as I said, the camera is very reminiscent, and like some of the controls are very reminiscent, I do think it breaks apart from that. So, go Tormented Souls. Glitched. You keep winning awards. You're doing a good job. I love you a lot. I can't wait to see all of the party members, because apparently there's a lot to get. And you can raise these cute little bebos. I'm looking forward to that. What game was it? It wasn't Hack GU. It was Hack. It was the other Hack game, Hack Slash, I think. And you had to raise the grunties, and it wasn't super in-depth, but it kind of was a little in-depth. But I love monster raising in games. I spent a lot of time raising chocobos in Final Fantasy VII. I'm looking forward to that. The rest of the game, but that. Congratulations, Glitched. You won a lot of awards. You didn't cheat. I didn't cheat. No one's accusing me of I think I still have my copy of Monster Rancher downstairs for the PlayStation 2, I believe. But I'm not being accused of rigging, so clearly these won out. No! Stop it. Whispering Valley, Sugunoi, you scared me. I thought I was gonna cry a little, if I'm gonna be real, because sometimes, not because obviously it's too scary, but just if I'm too scared, that's it. Tears are coming down my face. So congratulations, you won your award. You were the scariest game. I might come back to you. I might come back. Mommy promises that. And you deserve it, because I don't know how that game is going to be received. sometimes I like really weird things, and it doesn't do as well as I would hope, and then the devs lose faith because people don't like it, and then they stop doing things. But this game's already out. I hoping it did well in Japan, localized for America, localized for English, I should say. And maybe I'll get over myself one day. We'll see. And finally, congratulations to the 3 winners, the 3 games that made a place in my heart. Risu, Glimmer and Mirror, and Glitched, non-rigged. This one was complete bias, I will say. Nate, the dev, came in the other day and he said, hey, what games have you enjoyed from the festival? And I said, hey, I can't tell you, but I do have an awards ceremony going on Tuesday. But I did tell him that I enjoyed Glimmer and Mirror because I felt like I had already played it that day and that wasn't giving too much away. But as I said, our time is coming to a close. We gave out our awards. We took another quick look for last words to every game that won. But let's be real, the real winners are all of us, the players, who got to take this week to play so many games. I have to say, I was actually really shocked at how long most of the demos were. Some of them were like 15 to 20 minutes, which I'm used to. And as I said, if a demo is gonna be on the shorter and we thank you, Marcus, for being here, for making us laugh, making us cry, and helping us not feel— I say us, the royal us, it's all me. I am a one-woman awards ceremony. But for your colorful commentary, as I was made a few oopsies. But if a demo is going to be short, make it count, you know? And thank you, Cassie. And thanks to everyone coming by. We're not ending quite yet, but since you are saying thank you, I want to be a good host. But yeah, the demo festival was great. I would have loved to play more, but I only have so many hours that I stream, and I I didn't want to rush any of them. I already rushed Blueberry and I rushed Miscellaneous, a Tiny Tail demo. Like not so much because I liked the both of them, and I'm gonna get them both. But it's also really cool when you can just spend as much time as you want. Some of these demos, I think I played about an hour, and that was not the end of it. So good on the devs to give us some big, chonky, meaty demos. I don't know when the next game festival is. I think it's like the 3rd or 4th I've participated in, the 2nd I've done. But it was a good time. When the next festival rolls around, you all can bet I'm renting another podium. We're having another awards ceremony. It'll probably be like way better. I'll make sure everything is checked so that there's no spoilers for nominees. But what a good festival. When I can go beyond expectations, it's a win in my book. You know, the past few days have just seemed very long. So to get up absolutely exhausted, get over myself, get on camera, do this awards ceremony, and you guys are like, hey, it's pretty great. It means a lot to me because you guys are pretty great as well. I say it a lot. I would stream even if you guys weren't here, but it makes it better and more fun to stream when you guys are here as my captive audience. So, thank you so much. That will conclude their ceremony so far. I don't know how the next one will be. We will find out. Hopefully it won't happen like at a time where I've got a lot going on. But it was still a lot of fun. So tomorrow, I don't know if I'm streaming. I was very tired yesterday. I was very tired today, but I was determined to do the ceremony, so any other stream I would have just canceled. But I put so much time and thought into this ceremony that I couldn't cancel it. So here I am. But I'm like pumped up now. Hey, Dis, you're right here for the very end. Thank you, though. I worked hard. I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna stream or if I will stream, because it's like nothing special. We're gonna go back to Skyrim because I've loved the demos. I've kind of missed Skyrim because Skyrim is pretty fun. We'll see if I do stream. Usual time, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. But if I don't stream, I probably won't see you guys until Saturday. So thanks so much to everyone. Congratulations to the winners. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to the devs. Thanks to the demos. Thanks to all you guys for being here and supporting me. I hope everyone has a really good night. And until next time, see ya.